existence. In that time, they've risen to be a Class A unit and have competed nationally with other drum and bugle corps as well. John Mantville, who's been director of the group for the past 8 years, tells us the purpose, the reason why the group was formed was to give teenagers something to do. And he says, more importantly, keep them off the streets so they won't get into trouble.
Well, it was a group of grown-ups that got together that wanted to do something to keep the kids off the street. And they felt that this area here could support a fairly decent drum and bugle corps.
How many members did you have when you began?
Oh, they started off years ago with only about 16, 17 members.
And it's up to what now?
Right now, last season we ran 65 kids on the field.
That's a lot, but you're looking for more, correct?
Yes, we're trying to build this year in the 1984 season to somewhere around approximately 80 kids.
Now, you travel all around the country. Where are some of the places you've been?
Oh, in the past we've been to Allentown, Pennsylvania, Whitewater, Wisconsin. We've spent 2-3 weeks at a time up in Canada, up in Montreal. We travel to almost anywhere in the country, wherever the Drum Corps International shows are.
Now, how do you stay afloat?
We're self-supporting. We don't have anybody that's supporting us. We do all our own fundraising. We do it mainly with our kids. We do have the parents working in Las Vegas nights, and hopefully are going to get our own bingo started within the next year or so.
Do you find that's getting tougher and tougher as the years go on?
Oh, yes. The cost of everything is just getting so high now that it's very difficult to earn the money to keep the drum corps operating.
Well, basically, like Mr. Mantville, the director, has stated before, we're looking maybe for about 80 to 90 children this year to put on the field for competition shows and parades and whatnot. Basically, the idea is to try to get as many as we can and work with them during the winter months to train them to execution for the summer shows and stuff like that. I would say, on the average, my ideal idea of personnel for drum corps would be maybe about a 20-man drum line, 30 to 40 horns, and maybe a 30-girl color guard.
Now, what are the ages these kids have to be?
Right now, the ages range between 12 and their 21st birthday, and they can march up until their 22nd.
Okay, Dick, if anybody is interested, where can they contact?
The best bet to be would, we have rehearsals right now at the Riley School on Sundays. The drum line is reporting about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and at 5 o'clock the horn line starts. That's here in Lowell, down by the Colley Memorial Stadium, off of Douglas Road in Lowell. And other than that, they can contact the director, John Mantville, in Westford. His telephone number is 692-2441.
Hello everyone, I'm Paul Crowley and welcome to Spotlight on Lowell Life. As you know, this program is dedicated to bringing you information concerning the many things going on in and around Lowell, about the many changes taking place in our area, and most importantly though, about the people who are helping to bring about these changes, and how everything combined is going to affect you and the rest of Lowell life. Now, in the past, we've had guests on from just about every walk of life, from education, politics, the arts and sciences, and whatever. And this evening, it's going to be sort of a combination here. I would imagine that we're going to have, I have 3 guests on, and they're all going to talk about a little bit of the artistic endeavors of some youngsters. Also, some educational. It's a little bit educational, and certainly it has a lot to do with entertainment. As I have as my guests, John Mantville, Dick Ness, and Bill McDonald, who are representing the Buccaneers of the Merrimack Valley. Gentlemen, did I get that all right? Okay?
All right.
All right. Good. So, first of all, thank you very much for taking time out of your schedule and coming on and sharing a few moments with us. And John, since you are the director, why don't you tell us a little bit about your involvement with the Buccaneers?
Okay, I've been with the Buccaneers myself for the past 7 years as their director. We've been building the drum corps from a very small parade unit to a nationally competing corps. In the past years, we've had a chance to travel throughout the country. And this all started, like I say, from just a small little parade group that wanted to continue on. Our man here, Mr. McDonald, Bill, he started with the drum corps years ago. He was a marching member.
Old timer.
All right, Bill,
5
so
years.
tell us a little bit about yourself and your involvement, Bill.
Like John said, I was in the drum corps for 5 years. Since then, now that I'm too old for that anymore, I'm on their staff now. I'm the publicity director. And I like to think that maybe I can bring a good perspective to the show since I was in the drum corps, and not that long ago. I like to think that I remember very much what it's like to be in the drum corps, what it's like to be a member.
All right, and Dick, how about you?
Well, myself, my affiliation with the Buccaneers goes back maybe just a little bit less than a year, but relatively speaking, the drum corps experience that I have totals about 18 years, going from some of the smaller corps years ago into some of the larger corps, maybe back into 1969, 70, into World Championship Drum Corps.
So 18 years now, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Gee, it must have been about 2 or 3 when you started, right?
I ain't going to tell you how old I am.
Well,
It goes back quite a way.
all right, so each of you have 3 different functions, the director, the assistant director, and publicity director. Right. Very good. Well, okay, now we're going to have to take a quick break. When we come back, maybe you can tell us just a little bit about the Buccaneers themselves and where they've been and where they're going, okay?
Okay.
All right, so we'll be right back right after these words. Bill McDonald and Dick Ness of the Buccaneers Drum and Bugle Corps. And John, since you're the director, is that the musical director or overall director or what?
It's overall director.
Overall director.
I have instructors that take care of writing the musical program and actually teaching all of the music itself.
All right, now just what are the Buccaneers of the Merrimack Valley?
Oh, I don't.
How would you define them?
I'll take the up on. I'll take the up
Let's
on
get
that
the
one, Paul.
publicity director.
Let him do it.
Okay. On the surface, at face value, it's very simple. It's a marching musical group, similar to a marching band, a drum and bugle corps. That's on the surface. I like to think that that's a very superficial definition of what the drum corps is all about, since I was in it. It's much more than a musical program, much more. There's a very large social element to it. The people aren't there, the kids in the drum corps aren't in it, because they enjoy the physical action of marching. And although we have a lot of great performers who enjoy performing, they're not really there for performing either. They're there for social reasons, because drum corps is very much like a family. The kids spend so much time together, rehearsing together, they become extremely close. And it's a very social thing. The rehearsals aren't work, because all your best friends are there. It's really a very social thing, although we do take the music tremendously seriously, and the technical excellence has got to be there too. But a social group, a family, and like I said, nominally a marching musical group.
All right, now in the beginning, John, you mentioned that the Buccaneers were originally like a marching
Yes,
group.
we
and now it's a performing group. What was the
it started out as just a small parade unit. Okay, which we just wanted to give the kids some fun of marching in the local parades and so forth. But as we got more involved into the drum corps scene and started getting into competitions themselves, letting the kids compete against other drum corps, we found that the kids themselves enjoyed that much more. If you talk with any drum corps kid today, they hate parades. Parades are not the excitement to them. The competition is what they're really there for. And they've grown to a point where we joined the local circuits in around Massachusetts, to where they enjoyed that until they started meeting some of the other drum corps that would come into our circuit to compete, and started talking with them kids. And the drum corps itself has grown to a point now where our kids that join us to travel too. Like Bill says, the social life of it and getting to meet kids from all different walks of lives. Our kids have friends in Allentown, Pennsylvania, to California, and quite a few of them are still riding back and forth to boys and girls up in Canada.
So this is sort of divided, perhaps shall we say, like a state or regional and the national, international, things like
we're
that?
into what's known as 2 different types of circuits. We're in the local circuits here in Massachusetts itself, the Eastern Mass Circuit, but we are also an associate member of Drum Corps International, okay, which now gets us competing on the national level.
All right, now, just where are you working out of? Is it Lowell or Tewksbury or wherever?
Well, we move around quite a bit. This year we're practicing out of Lowell at the Riley School. Okay, but we have kids from Tewksbury, Wilmington, Chelmsford, Westford, and even some fellas, boys and girls coming down from Nashua. So our kids are made up from the Merrimack Valley itself. That's why we've gone with the Buccaneers of Merrimack Valley.
A few years back, as I recall, drum and bugle corps used to be a pretty big thing in this area, and all of a sudden it kind of died out a little bit, didn't it?
Years ago, this area right here was the leading area for drum and bugle corps. The Drum Corps International, not Drum Corps International, but Drum Corps East, anyways, their championships used to be held right here at Colley Stadium in Lowell for years.
I can remember a few years back, like, what was it, the Polish American Veterans Rangers?
Yeah,
they had a pretty good
they had
corps.
2 drum corps.
Yeah,
they had a little feeder corps and a larger corps.
I'll tell you what the real problem is, Paul, is that it's not, you haven't seen less of a drum corps presence for want of demand, for want of kids who would participate. The problem is that the financial burden on the organization has grown crushing. The drum corps is tremendously expensive to run. When you got 80 kids that have to be uniformed, equipped, fed, bussed all over the country, instructed, et cetera, the bucks cost about $100,000 a year to run. And
It's forever increasing.
the people running it, there's a parent organization in the background. And I think some of the reasons why you've seen other local drum corps fail is because it's just too burdensome. You can't do it running bake sales.
Oh, there's an awful lot of work behind it, where we don't have any one group sponsoring us. We have to go out and earn all our own money to travel. And this burden comes back on the kids and their parents. And this is where the dedication really comes into a main factor in it. A lot of kids would love to belong to the drum corps, but they don't want to have to go out and do the selling of candy bars or whatever it may be that brings
other
in
things that,
right, they don't want to be a part of that.
type things.
Something that we gotta mention now that I talk about how expensive it is to run the drum corps, I want the audience to think it's expensive to be in the drum corps. In 1982 it was $40, and they went to Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Montreal.
Right.
Last summer it was
Can't go wrong with that,
$50.
can
No, we try and hold the
You can't
cost
go to
down.
Boston for $40 to
We
live.
try and hold the cost down
Yeah.
for the boys and girls themselves. We don't believe that there's any kid within our drum corps that really can afford the $300, $400, $500 like some of the larger drum corps do get.
Okay, listen, why don't we do this? I know you gentlemen brought a tape with you. Why don't we take a quick break, and then after this, a few commercial messages, we'll come back and we can show us the tape of the Buccaneers, okay?
Fine. Very
All right, we'll be right back right after these words. John Mantville, Dick Ness, and Bill McDonald of the Buccaneers Drum and Bugle Corps. These gentlemen have been very gracious enough to bring a tape that deals with tells us all about the Buccaneers Drum and Bugle Corps, and I think we should go to that right away so you folks out there can have a chance to see it. So as we're going to do here, sit back and relax, so also should you sit back, relax, and enjoy this tape.
Hi, my name is Laurie. For the next few minutes, we're going to take you away from where you are now and into a whole different world. A world by, for, and about kids. Where kids are professionals.